When you look up at the sky tonight, take a moment to think about this. Right now, beyond the sky we can see, out in that massive, pitch-black, freezing void of space, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from Earth to be exact, 4 human beings are completely trapped inside a tiny metal box. At this very moment, these 4 people are falling back toward our Earth at an unimaginably terrifying speed, with absolutely no control. All around them is nothing but endless, massive darkness. They are incredibly far away from their loved ones, their familiar surroundings, the air they breathe, and everything they've ever known. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood movie. This is an extremely dangerous event happening for real, high above our planet, at this exact second. Welcome back once again to the TerraVoy channel. By the time you are watching this video, one of the most remarkable space journeys in world history, the Artemis 2 mission has reached its most terrifying and critical stage. 50 years after the legendary Apollo missions, humanity's return journey to the moon hasn't even passed its hardest part yet. To tell you the truth, the most brutal and frightening experience of their lives begins tomorrow. So today, let's talk about exactly where these 4 astronauts are at this very second. The mind-blowing record they broke while isolated in space over the past few days, and just how dangerous that 5,000-degree wall of fire they have to face tomorrow really is. To truly understand the bone-chilling terror of this story, we have to go right back to the beginning of the mission. It all started on April 1st, 2026. The most powerful and massive rocket ever built in the world, the Space Launch System, or SLS, took off into the sky from Florida, carrying the Orion spacecraft. Inside this colossal rocket were 4 brave astronauts: Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. Their journey is not as simple as it sounds. They are not landing on the surface of the moon. Their goal was to travel one single loop around the moon, test the spacecraft's technology, and come straight back to Earth. For the first few days, there were no issues at all. Everything happened exactly as planned. They broke free from Earth's orbit and traveled into that massive pitch-black darkness of space. However, the further they got from Earth, the more they began to feel a strange, overwhelming sense of emptiness and isolation. When a spacecraft travels behind the moon, meaning the dark side that we can never see from Earth, something truly terrifying happens. Because of the massive rocky nature of the moon, all communication signals and radio waves with Earth are completely blocked. This means that during that time, these 4 astronauts have absolutely no connection with Earth. No one on Earth can speak to them, and they cannot speak to anyone on Earth. If a major accident were to happen inside the ship, or if the ship were to explode, Earth wouldn't know a thing about it. Trapped in the deep darkness of the moon, without anyone to help them, those 4 are entirely alone. Can you even imagine the fear they must feel at that moment? They become the 4 loneliest human beings in the entire universe. While traveling through that massive emptiness and darkness, on the exact date of April 6th, this crew set a new world record. They traveled further than any human has ever gone in the history of mankind. Previously, this record was held by the Apollo 13 mission back in 1970. But the Artemis 2 crew completely shattered that record. They traveled more than 252,700 miles away from Earth through space. Looking out through the tiny window of their spacecraft from that incredibly far distance, our Earth didn't look like a massive planet to them. It looked like a tiny, glowing blue dot floating in the middle of a vast, dark void. They must have realized that their lives, their families, world history, everything they know, exists solely inside that tiny dot they were looking at. So, where are they at this moment? Right at this exact second? By now, they have completely broken free from the moon's gravitational pull. They are currently being pulled back toward our Earth at a very high speed. To be precise, this is an uncontrolled free fall through space. This fall has been happening continuously for days. Right now, inside the spacecraft, they are preparing for the massive, terrifying battle they have to face tomorrow. They are checking and rechecking their suits and all the systems on board. Because even though they are surrounded by an incredibly silent and peaceful environment right now, tomorrow that silence will be completely shattered. Tomorrow, April 10th, this spacecraft is going to violently slam into the Earth's atmosphere. Tomorrow marks the end of their journey. The spacecraft is scheduled to splash down in the Pacific Ocean. But before they can reach the ocean, they have to pass through a massive invisible wall, the Earth's atmosphere. When this spacecraft enters the atmosphere tomorrow, its speed will be around 25,000 miles per hour. That is 32 times the speed of sound. When a spacecraft enters the atmosphere at such an insane speed, the air particles simply don't have time to get out of the way. All those particles will smash against the bottom of the spacecraft and compress intensely. The friction caused by this compression creates an unimaginable level of heat, forming a massive wall of fire all around the spacecraft. The outside temperature of the ship will skyrocket to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That is about half the temperature of the surface of the sun. At this heat, almost any metal would instantly melt and vaporize. The only reason these 4 astronauts aren't instantly turned to ash is because of a single heat shield attached to the bottom of the spacecraft. This shield is made of a special material designed to burn and melt away on the outside, preventing the heat from entering the cabin. If there is even the tiniest little crack in that shield, that massive fire will breach the cabin and the entire mission will be destroyed in a matter of seconds. On top of that, NASA is going to try something new and dangerous this time. This adds even more mystery and terror to the journey. Normally, a meteor crashing into the atmosphere falls straight down. But if they were to come straight down like that, the resulting pressure would make it impossible for the astronauts to breathe, and they could die. Because of this, NASA has decided not to bring the spacecraft straight down, but to use a different approach. This spacecraft will enter the atmosphere, bounce back up into space again, and only then dive back down toward Earth. Nothing like this has ever been done before with a manned spacecraft. Even though this is done to slow the spacecraft down, it is extremely risky. As the spacecraft hits the atmosphere like this, a plasma shield, like a massive fireball, forms all around it. Because of this plasma, no radio signals can enter or leave the ship. This means that during those few terrifying minutes, all communication with the spacecraft will be completely lost. The screens at NASA will show absolutely nothing. Whether this spacecraft survived the 5,000-degree fire and whether the astronauts are still alive will remain a complete mystery to the entire world until a message is received again. Until we see those giant parachutes open up in the sky, the whole world will be holding its breath. So one way or another, history will be rewritten tomorrow. Will the Artemis 2 crew successfully complete this terrifying journey and pave the way for future missions to Mars? Or will they fall victim to the cruel, dark dangers of space? Even right now, massive Navy ships are waiting out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The whole world will be watching the sky tomorrow. Will the spacecraft survive that massive wall of fire? What did they really feel inside that vast, pitch-black darkness of space? Make sure to comment your thoughts below. If you love discovering hidden mysteries and the unknown wonders of the universe in simple terms, don't forget to subscribe to our TerraVoy channel right now. Look up at the sky tonight. Think about those 4 heroes traveling beyond this dark sky. We will see you with another video just like this. Stay safe.